Amidst the oversaturation of Telltale, 1979 Revolution Black Friday seems, on the surface, like something of a copycat. But a book should not be judged by its cover, as Ink Studios would not base their first game on a license or a fictional story, instead attempting to offer a glimpse at the Iranian Revolution of the late 70s. Mixing informative elements with adventure gaming, its harrowing subject matter is handled with grace and care. While suffering from visual issues and brevity, those with interest in the topic or an alternative adventure should nevertheless seek this one out. However, for everyone else, it proves more difficult to recommend. Reza Shirazi, a journalist turned revolutionary, ends up being arrested and put in interrogation with the feared Haji Aga. With cooperation or resistance, depending on your dialogue choices, Reza details the circumstances surrounding his entry into the Iranian Revolution through his lifelong friend Babak, and the harrowing events he has borne witness to. It proves a fascinating journey, eschewing the traditional black and white morality for ambiguity, and as a consequence, feels more absorbing. Exploration of issues relating to theocratic rule and the inequality that was its byproduct, the rise of anti-American sentiment, and even the use of real locations, like the infamous Evin prison as the backbone of the narrative, all strike a haunting chord. The levity of both the setting and the topic weighs heavily in every moment.
Was he the mastermind behind the attacks in March?
Babak.
It helps that the cast of main characters prove compelling. Reza's persona can often be shaped by dialogue choices, but his general demeanour and bond with Babak are likeable. There's a great spectrum between attitudes, shown by Babak and Shirazi's cousin Ali, with the former desperate to make change through peaceful protest, while the latter often suffers violent outbursts, showing both sides of the revolution coin. Navid Negaban's powerful performance as real-life warden Asodallah Lajevadi is as compelling as it is unsettling, with his stance swinging depending on how you cooperate with him. The storytelling, writing, and voice acting are up there with the best in class, keeping the narrative compelling throughout.
What are you so worried about? They have eyes everywhere. And these cassettes have become the voice of the revolution and therefore a threat to the regime. Now take it, Baba.
Being based on a real-life tragedy, Ink Studios could have used the setting as dressing like many games before. However, Reza's camera proves a hugely educational tool. Throughout key moments, you can equip a camera and take pictures of a myriad of moments, whether it's iconic imagery, tragic moments, or Iranian culture. Oftentimes, you will be recreating key events captured on film during the revolution, and this unlocks stories which add factual knowledge to the snap you just took. Tapes and other key items also divulge information on other aspects of the incident, proving incredibly interesting. It's one thing to use a real incident as set dressing, but 1979 goes one step further and educates those willing to listen and read, and the studio deserves credit for that.
We're one of the biggest exporters of oil in the world, and our people still have to stand in line to fill up their tanks. Tell me that isn't backwards.
Like Telltale games of the time, Black Friday does insert minimal gameplay into the experience, and this is arguably where the game begins to stumble. Some chapters allow you to explore freely and interact with objects, but movement feels sluggish and offers little beyond seeking out clickables and taking photos when prompted. QuickTime events appear sporadically, but feel clunky and out of place. There's already a palpable tension to the game thanks to its story, but these moments add little to that. Beyond this, gameplay is pretty minimal. Some chapters merely feature dialogue choices which shape the story, and although some may yearn for more mechanical elements, it's the forced gameplay that actually feels worse for wear. Visually, even releasing over 2 years after PCs on Xbox One, this game can be a mixed bag. There's an eye-catching style here that gifts the main characters a distinctive look, almost like an oil painting. Sadly, environments and NPCs didn't get nearly the same amount of love, often looking incredibly low res and suffering choppy animations. Performance is usually smooth at least, bar some sections which cause drops and slowdown. Luckily, other presentation elements, such as the haunting opening which mixes live action and in-game footage, and plenty of nods to both the period and setting, and it's still decent, if mixed, in visual quality.
That says it all. You can't trust the Americans.
"1979 is also tougher to recommend for value-conscious gamers. While 19 chapters sounds extensive, the reality is that it adds up to around 90 minutes of content. Some chapters last fewer than 5 minutes, which gives the experience a breakneck pace but little time to breathe. Some choices do pop up throughout the game, with a late game decision in particular rewarding one of 2 endings, but you'd still be lucky to scrape 4 hours out of this one, even with careful studying of the trove of information. With the game costing just shy of £10, it's definitely one that could leave you feeling shortchanged. "1979 Revolution Black Friday deserves credit for taking a considered, informative approach to a real-life event, one which still has consequences even today. For those curious about the subject and are happy to experience it through an interactive medium, it proves an easy recommendation. On the other side of the coin, a lack of replay value, gameplay missteps, and visual deficiencies make it harder to recommend to the more impatient gamer. If the price tag, the game's brevity, or its intense subject matter don't scare you off, then Ink Studios' debut may linger long after completion.
'Cause you were committed to your cause.
Yes, because my cause was just, unlike yours.